So here Achilles describes precisely what's gone on in his own heart all this time. He recognizes and acknowledges that he has done no good for his own side, that he's been a useless weight on the land. And he recognizes that it's gall, anger, swarming like smoke inside his heart that's become sweeter to him than the dripping of honey, and that's why these things have happened. But he doesn't give up his anger. He simply turns it away from Agamemnon and toward Hector now, who's killed his friend. But this is a tremendous description of bitterness. It's precisely the description of bitterness that we need to make sense of what happened in Book 9. When Agamemnon offered that tremendous offer of reconciliation, tons of treasure when they finally take Troy, a third of his own kingdom when they get back home, one of his own daughters as a wife. When Agamemnon makes this magnificent offer, which would be a tremendous public restoration of Achilles' honor, when he makes this and Achilles turns it down, not because it's not enough, but simply because he can't let go of his bitterness, well, this is what's going on. This is a description of bitterness that every human being who's ever been bitter at someone else would recognize. A friend offends you. You're hurt. They humiliate you at a party. They say something publicly in front of your other friends, make you feel horrible, embarrassed. You go home that night and you lay in bed and you play that little videotape over and over in your head about just kind of mulling it over, what they did to you and thinking of all the things you should have said and what you'll say next time and how you're going to get back. But mostly just playing the scene over and over again, like rubbing a sore tooth. It hurts, but you can't stop. And then the next day, your friend comes to you, and your friend apologizes. They come back and they want to make up, and they say, "Look, I was wrong. I treated you abominably. There was no excuse. It was entirely my fault. You didn't deserve it. I was wrong. Please forgive me." And what do you say? Well, we know that we ought to say, "All right, I forgive you," and do it sincerely from the heart. But instead, we say, that really hurt. And so our friend says, "Yeah, I know. It must be terrible. I completely acknowledge that. Please forgive me." And so you say, "Yeah, but that was really bad. I mean, you're my friend. I never expected that out of you." And they say, yeah, I know. I'm not arguing with you. I agree. It was terrible. I was awful. Please forgive me. And you say, I don't know. What an awful thing to do. You can't let go. You can't forgive. Or maybe you do forgive, but grudgingly. Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, thanks. And they can tell you haven't really done it. Well, sometimes we'd rather have that bitterness, we'd rather hang on to the bitterness than have the sweetness of the reconciliation. And every human being who's ever felt bitter knows this, and every human being has felt bitterness. In the scriptures, in Hebrews, we're told that we ought to avoid a bitterness because it's like a root that grows down deep into the ground and defiles many people. And this is why. Because it refuses reconciliation, it refuses communion with other people, it refuses the fellowship of the restoration.